Okay, so I'll just tidy up, I'll leave that there for a moment. So after I've done that roof, I've turned the roofs off, both the roofing layer and the office roof layer off. I've turned that off, and the next thing I've done is I've gone around and I've just closed off the front of the building, or any extremities, with glass curtain walls. So I've created some curtain walls in these sort of locations, and then I've applied a transparent material to them like we've done elsewhere. So the next thing to do then would be, and in doing those glass curtain walls too, I'll show you what I've done here, and I'm not too sure if this is going to be the final solution, and I haven't actually determined a solution over on the other side yet, but I've created these little nib walls so that the glass curtain wall can be set back a little bit, because these concrete tilt-up walls in the front here become parapets in front of the roof. The roof will finish in behind on the back surface of those parapets of those walls. So therefore, our glass curtain wall, so for a door opening and window opening, would need to set back from there. So that's why I've done these little nib walls. They'll just be 92mm framed walls, with then the glass curtain wall sitting in between that. So I should do something similar to that over in this side here, although this wall looks fairly close to that already. We'd need to do something similar to this wall here. So I could probably even pick that up now if I was to double click that, and whoops, lost my orientation here. Double click that, and if I was to also double click that and that and that, I've picked up a copy of that wall, and I'm just wondering if it might be easy to then make a copy of that wall from this end point here, if I can get to it. I can't get to it in front of the face, so I might be able to get to it here. So I might make a copy of that from that intersection there over to the same intersection over here, something like that there, and then that gives me another wall to pull that glass curtain wall up against. So I'll close that gap. Probably should close that gap still with a little 10mm joint there, but if I was to just move initially that wall in that direction until we got that end point there, but then I could then pull a copy of that edge back 10mm. This would be one way of doing it, and then I could delete this little part here, and that'll open up a little 10mm gap there for me. So rather than using set out lines, just want to delete that. That must be sharing on some other layer. That's okay. So this little line just here too. Delete that. Okay, so something like that, and then in terms of fit out later, this might end up becoming a void. It might end up becoming a void that can be used by services or something, air conditioning, water, electrical power or something like that later, possibly because of the way it's ended up looking there. So we'll just leave that void there for now, and we can do something with that later. So after you've closed off that building to that extent, we've probably, I'll just turn on all the layers. The next thing we need to do is probably remembering these front tilt-up walls. When we originally stood those up, they had an angle of 10 degrees on them. So we've now decided to change the roof pitch to 7.5 degrees. So that's where I'm going to pick up this and see if I can move it from somewhere along the line to that end point up there. And so now our job is to start trimming up these concrete tilt-up parapets along that line there. So an easy way of doing that, we've done this sort of thing before, was I might come along there anywhere in red axis direction, and somewhere, well, not as well, no, we won't need to do that one, anywhere in red axis direction as long as it's in red, and then I can close up the ends of those lines and then close up where they started from. So that will give us the plane that everything needs to be chopped off at. So we then select that roof plane, and we intersect with model, which means we've now created intersecting lines at any of those points there. which means if I can get myself orientated nicely, maybe back in this direction, I might be able to make a selection in one go. Hard to get. The aim is to try and get clear space behind you, something like this anyway. So you can just put a crossing window through and delete. Crossing window and delete, and so on and so forth. That'll just clean up. That's a fairly easy way of cleaning up anything above that plane. Okay, then it's a matter of cleaning up the plane itself. You might notice also in cleaning up these surfaces, I'll quite often make the choice, rather than deleting the surface itself, I'll actually delete the line on a line on the outside, because that'll do, with one click, that'll actually delete two things. It'll delete the line that I click as well as the face. So that's cleaned up those parapet walls to that extent there. We'll just turn on some layers so we can see what we've got here now. Turn on the walling layer, turn on the roofing layer, turn on the office roof layer, and that'll give us a bit of an idea of what we've done up at that level. Sort of somewhat closed off that level, then we'll have to do something about what we're doing from ceiling line up, but we'll think about that a little bit later. We're making good headway here now. The next thing I wanted to show you what I've done is with this front wall here. I'll just delete my copy of it here. If I maybe even double click that, I might be able to press the delete key, which tidies that all up. You're probably looking at something like that. I'll clean up this construction line here now. Clean up a couple of my construction lines. So what you'll do now to tidy up, I'm not sure why that little line there is floating out above there, but I think that can go. Oh, okay, hang on, we've got a roof overhang that's not working properly here at the moment. So we'll have to tidy up, we'll have to figure out why that is, and I think it's just because I've just deleted a line. Just undo a few things. Oh, there we go. So the roof overhang was there. There was one of those lines I shouldn't have deleted. I think obviously that one can go though. Okay. So I'll just double click that and press delete, and that's what got rid of that line, so I better not double click it. And I'm just trying to show you what I've done to get that. So to get that front wall there, probably the easiest way is keep the 280mm offset line. So if you've got rid of it already, come back to this one running through the portal frames, the grid line, and give yourself a 280mm offset line. And remember, that's the front wall of the wall cladding that sits on the factory frame. So you've already done that up the back here. So simply take a copy of the whole of that face. So click that face and copy it. Well, it's better if you actually, before you do that, it's better if we actually have that set out line down on the factory floor level. So in view of that, I will get rid of that like I had done. I'm going to put all of my set out lines back down on the factory floor line now, because it's easiest just to select them all in one go. Easiest way of selecting your set out lines is to hover into an area like this, and outside your building put a crossing window which will pick up all your set out lines, and then I'm moving them down on blue axis, the 3300, and then it's simply a matter then of giving yourself a construction line that is 280 off the front, because that will be the front surface of the wall. Wrong one, something's okay, it hasn't moved down for me. Okay, I think I'll just pause the video then. We'll come back, I'll get myself tidied up here, and we'll come back and carry on with that bit next.